Russian President Vladimir Putin formally lowered the threshold for his country's use of nuclear weapons. Joining us now on the markets, Mark Spitznagel, founder and chief investment officer of the hedge fund Universa Investments, has more than $17 billion in assets under management. And one of the things, and it's good to have you on, great to have you in. You do deal in the possibility of black swan events, I guess. So we ratcheted it up a little bit this morning, or not to worry?
I mean, we don't really look to short-term, fluctuations too much. But I do think we're at a time that we need to start to worry a little bit. It's been a little uncharacteristic. I think I've been a little more, in fact, a lot more bullish over the last 2 years, because I think we're sort of in this Goldilocks zone right now. I kind of feel like we'll remain in it a little bit more. I think we're going to look for a little more euphoria. But I think that we're still part of this boom-bust cycle, and I think that that's kind of an inevitable thing that we're in.
But next year, maybe not so much.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we have to, lag effects are important in this business, and I think it's easy for us to forget that, and it's kind of the reason, lag effects are the reason Bernanke, for instance, got so blindsided at the GFC. And what Goldilocks zones are the sort of when you're in this immediate effect, positive environment, and the sort of overlapping lag effects that are kind of coming. So I think that's where we are right now.
Go ahead.
The boom and bust effects, is that ever since the COVID pandemic when things went down, or are you talking about broader boom and busts?
Definitely broader. I mean, I think that ultimately boom and bust cycles are caused by monetary policy. And, we can't put the genie back in the bottle from what really started at the GFC. And I really think that's what's driving everything ultimately.
All the other things that we talked about won't be what gets us, though. It'll be another mistake in monetary policy, in your view?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that, I think that ultimately what happened in 22, I thought that was an enormous mistake. People thought that, we were in the 70s. That was kind of their investment thesis. And I thought that was just profoundly wrong. Simply because of the levered, we have the largest credit bubble, I would argue, in human history, and you can't just tighten into that. I don't think we're ever going to see another truly run-of-the-mill sort of, a business cycle again. So yeah, that was a mistake. But of course, the real mistake was what happened, 15 years earlier today. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think these are the problems, these are the mistakes that have happened. I think truly the Fed is behind the curve right now, even though I hate looking like a Fed apologist. You'll never find someone who's more anti-Fed. I mean, and the Fed would be something that I would be in favor of. You'll never find a more negative person on the Fed than myself.
Who should be controlling monetary policy if it's not the Fed, not the president, I guess, do you think? I mean, how should we do it? Because there are people that point out, we haven't always had the Fed. And there are those that it's almost a religion, Fed independence. But you're just giving, there's a lot of people who can screw up monetary policy. It could be the Fed, could be the president, could be Congress. Is this the best way to do it, or should it be rule-based?
To me, I'm more of a purist on this. I think it sort of begs the question, well, why should there be monetary policy? Yeah. We all agree in free markets, price discovery of things. Why shouldn't that be the case for interest rates as well? I think we kind of need to figure that out first. Yeah, I think we're better off, when we set interest rates. Why should a bureaucracy, a bureaucrat in Washington, to tell us what interest rates should be? It creates distortions in the market, ultimately.
Right. But then there's times where we thank the Fed for saving our bacon, right? No?
Well, of course, that's the thing. But then it creates these other problems. It creates moral hazard. We know all these problems. And the other thing is, this is typical of government policy. The effects tend to come later. So we create these sort of Pyrrhic victories, and it's easy to forget who caused the real problems. This is really what governments do.